Hey everybody, my name is Crys'Dawna. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, this video is actually not going to be me creating anything. I want to answer a few questions about the future of this channel, of Bella Renovare, where I'm going, all the things, and where I've been. So, if you haven't noticed, I have not been creating very much at all, not on really any of my platforms. And I will say the best way for me to tell you what was going on is burnout. So we, about 2 years ago, moved from Germany back to the US, to Maine. What was different, my husband has been in the Air Force, or was in the Air Force for 20 years, and we've been together for 17. So I've moved back and forth. I've went to Italy, I've went back to the States, I went to Germany, and it seemed to be fine. But what was different about this was that my husband was retiring. And so every time that we would move somewhere, we would move into basically a community that was handed to us. And I would have to reinvent myself. My kids would have to reinvent themselves, find friends, all those things. But it was a little bit easier for a few reasons. One, my husband was stable, right? So his life was stable. He had his basically built-in friends. He was in a really small career field, and so his career field, a lot of times he worked with the same people. Like, he would work with someone for 4 years, go to a new base, and then be stationed with somebody else that he knew from 4 years prior. Okay, so that was kind of a nice comforting thing. And then also, when you're moving to another base, you still have a job. So those were things that, when you're transitioning from base to base, you don't have to worry about. But when you retire, it's literally like, they do have a class called TAP, Transition Assistance Program type thing. It teaches people how to write resumes and things like that. But mentally, physically, physiologically, it doesn't prepare you for retirement after the military. And so when my husband retired, also we moved to Maine because we wanted to be around family, and in fact we aren't around very much family at all. It just wasn't what we thought it was going to be, moving back to the US, closer and close, like within few states proximity of family and other family. It just hasn't been. So that was one thing. Is I think we had really high expectations about where we chose to live, and some of that was a letdown. I love the Northeast. My husband loves the Northeast. I love Maine, but it is very expensive to live here. And sometimes that was a consideration because my husband had to find a job. He was 41 when he retired. So it's not like he can just, he was 40 actually. He was 40 when he retired. He'll be 42 in December, and he retired. We moved here in February 2 years ago. So I don't know, 40, I think he was 40 when we moved here. Maybe he was 41, I don't remember. Anyways, math is hard and numbers are hard. And so, you deal with, my husband was trying to find jobs. He found a job, it was awful. He ended up having to leave, and I know that was really hard for him because he doesn't normally just give up on stuff. Obviously, he was in the military for 20 years. And, but I could see how miserable he was. And I was like, you are no longer a government employee. You are no longer basically owned by the government. Like, you can do what you want. I know that you would never do this, but like, this is crazy. Like, he got a master's degree right before he retired. Like, he didn't work that hard for 20 years and to go to college to be in a job that he was miserable with, now that he could pick whatever he wanted. So there were a few things that happened. He was offered a job, and then they ended up like not hiring him because their whole organization was messed up and they weren't hiring anybody at that point. But my husband had turned down a few jobs in the meantime, and so his time came up where he was getting his retirement check. Well, a lot of people have a misconception about military retirement. It's not, it's like, I want to say either 20 or 30. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you are a veteran getting military, retirement, you can totally correct me. I can't remember. I think it's 20 to 30% of your base pay. That's not a lot of money. That's like a few $1,000s. That cannot sustain, one, a place that's expensive to live, and two, a family of 4. It just can't. So my husband was trying to go back to work, but in the meantime, the transition for him was not having you know, like-minded people, because it's a different world when you're in the military. And then also, you know, just being discouraging, because he thought, I'm going to retire and I'm going to have this great opportunity. I'm going to retire and I'm going to have 20 years of just amazing military experience. I've been a supervisor, management. Like, he's wore a lot of hats during the military. It wasn't just one job. He took on a lot of different jobs. So we're talking like logistics, we're talking just all these things. And, then he has an MBA. He has a bachelor's degree in public safety administration, and then he has a bachelor's degree. He has his MBA. And so he thought, you know what? I'm going to be able to go find a job. That is not the case. I don't know who is out there saying that there's a bunch of places hiring, but they're not. And maybe they are for jobs that my husband is less qualified for or more overqualified for. I don't know. I don't know if that happy medium is where it's just tough. So anyways, that is what was going on. Not to continue to just go on over and over and over, but those things were happening. I had a bad business deal with a paint company that's in this industry, and I gave them a significant amount of money to invest to be a partner, and that did not turn out. And to this day, I still have not been paid back, contrary to whatever somebody out there is saying. That's not happening. It didn't happen. It hasn't happened. So there's that. And then my mom's health was not great and our relationship wasn't great. So there's that as well. And then no one tells you, my daughter's 12, my son's 8. So when we moved here, my kids were born in September. So, you know, let's just take a year and a half, right? So 10 and a half, maybe 6 and a half. My son was in kindergarten. And, so the transition for them was really tough, because they're military kids and they're used to new kids coming in, new kids going out, making friends really easy, because you have to. They had to. And so it is now, almost 2 years later, my daughter has found her group of friends that is steady, that I'm friends with their parents, all the things. My son is still, he's 8, he's in 2nd grade, so he's still young. It's still a little bit easier, but for my daughter, it was tough. It was really tough. And if you care about your kids, you care about your kids. And so, I just, you know, and then also we lost Cannon, and we got 2 new puppies after we got Cannon, and they were a little bit older. So normally when people get puppies, they get them before the imprint stage. Well, we got Rupert and we got Stanley after their imprint stage. They were probably, I would say they were born in January and we got them in May. So, you know, February, March, April, May, 4 months. They were about 4 months old, and some of the things that they do, they've had to unlearn, and some of them they will never unlearn. So like Rupert is terrified of men, and it takes a little bit for him to get used to them. They're not aggressive. They would never be aggressive. It was very hard to potty train them. It was very hard to just train them, period. And so mentally, I put everything into them, because I firmly believe if you are going to have animals, you need to treat them like they are part of your family. And also, it's a lot of work to train them. Now, you know, I know there's people that have like farm animals and stuff like that, but still, if you have a cattle dog, like you still have to train them and things like that. So, my dogs are in my family. They're in my life. They live in my house. I cannot have them having accidents. I cannot have them destroying stuff. And so training them, we still sometimes have problems with them, but the amount of time that I spent outside the past year that we've had them, or 2 years now, I guess, kind of like a year and a half, because we lost Cannon in May, and then we got them in May, very shortly after. And so in May, it'll be 2 years that we had them. So basically the entire part that we've had them, I have been working with them and working with them and working with them. They're beautiful, amazing, amazing dogs, but that has also taken a front seat, and my art and creating has taken a back seat to all of that stuff. I also have recently been diagnosed with PTSD, just because of a lot of the things that have happened as an adult, a lot of the things that have happened in the last few years, and a lot of things that have happened to me as a child. So I've always been really open with you guys about that kind of stuff. And so that is one thing that I'm navigating now in therapy, getting different medications, all the things. And now I'm going back to working out, which I hadn't done in a long time. So I worked really hard to get in shape, and then I've gained weight. I'm giving myself grace. I will be 40 in May. You know, it's sad to me sometimes that it's taken as long as it has for women to realize that we can be who we want to be, and we shouldn't put up with people, and we shouldn't put up with people destroying who we are inside. But I'm in a great place now, and I am going to be creating with you guys. I am going to get ready to do a YouTube video. Now, I have missed you a lot, and I'm very sorry that I kind of just ghosted you. So I'm very sorry that I have been kind of MIA for a while, but a couple good things. So one, I feel really good. I'm in a great space. I am going to be creating, like I just said, I'm gonna videotape a YouTube video here soon. Actually, like after I get off this video with you guys, but I just felt like I owed this to you. And also, so I have been playing softball my entire life. And to be quite honest, I do remember as a kid walking to games and practices by myself. And I remember my parents were never really around. Like, I remember taking rides with the coaches and things like that. And I think about this, I truly think, so even as an adult, like I went into the military. So I graduated high school, went into the military right after high school, and I instantly started playing slow pitch softball. So I played fast pitch softball my whole life. And then I instantly, at 18, started playing slow pitch softball, and I have played slow pitch softball ever since. So for almost, I'd say probably 30 to 35 years, I have played softball. And that seems really silly to some people, but when you are raised by a single mom and then you have all these other things that potentially have caused trauma in your life, I think it's something that has really helped heal me. And I think it's something that helped me cope with things when I was younger that I may not remember, right? So now my daughter plays softball, and I will tell you that I did say, please don't play softball because I play softball. So like, she loves it. And if she didn't love it, I would not be upset if she didn't play. So I coach her travel team. So I am a softball coach. I was able to coach some Little League. I am now coaching a 12U team. I play softball this past year. This past summer, I went down to Florida, and my team and I, as a bunch of women, we won WSL Worlds, and we will be going in probably in January, we'll be going down to compete in the Challenge Cup, which is what we do. We represent our state, so we'll represent the state of Maine and go down and play against other states. So I do, and I have been doing things that are healthy for me, but unfortunately I had to let one thing go. And I will be very honest with you. I know as an influencer, or I know as someone who puts your stuff out there, that you have to be ready for negative feedback and bad comments, but it just got to be too much. And I just did a video with Debbie, and Debbie is amazing, from Debbie's Design Diary. Debbie Beard and her niece are amazing humans that are behind DIY paint. But there were some people that came into my stuff and they were not happy with what I did. But it's the first video I've done in a very long time, and I'm a little bit rusty. And also I have a sick kid and whatever. Anyways, I don't know an explanation to anybody, but I will say that that's one thing that is very rough, is getting comments. I don't take it personally. I know what you guys are going to say. Don't take it personally. I understand that. But when you get them a lot, it's sometimes exhausting is more than anything. It's just exhausting to me that people are like that. The hardest thing that I've had to deal with the past few years is understanding why people do the things they do to hurt people. And because my brain doesn't work like that. So anyways, I digress. I am fine. I am doing great. I hope that you guys are doing great. Also, if you are having problems, you need to reach out to somebody, okay? You need to reach out to somebody, and you need to talk to somebody. But I'm going to let you guys go. I apologize for the rant, but I'm here and I'm not going anywhere, and I had to take a break in order for me to continue to do this and for me to be able to come back. So I will do a video and you guys will see it in a little bit. Until then, happy creating. Take care of yourself, please, and have a great day. Bye, guys.